In-game live on a Monday night. Great to be with all of you here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh back with Gabe Morency as we are following a Major League Baseball board with quite a few games off and running. Tampa Bay's already jumped up on Detroit. Red Sox are in Miami against Sandy Alcantara. And then you've got the Rockies and the Nationals. More baseball to come, but not for a little bit. There's not going to be another first pitch for about 40 minutes here. It is also opening week of college football, so there's a lot of buzz around that as well. Gabe, how are you, man?
We're ready to rock, Kevin. It's my favorite time of the sports calendar year when all these worlds start to collide. We've got college basketball around the corner, NHL hockey rapidly approaching, NBA basketball around the corner, but college football, week 0. We've got a bunch of FCS games and teams on Thursday night, and then we're off and running on Saturday with week 0. North Carolina, another controversial offseason for Bill Belichick and the Tar Heels, opening up the season like they did last year against Texas Christian, except this time it's in Dublin, Ireland.
Yeah, I think this time he's hoping they don't get their doors absolutely blown off. They are over a touchdown dog in that game, though, again, keeping that within 10 might feel like an accomplishment based on how things got started last year. I will say, we all kind of time these things differently. I've finished up the win total and national championship future portion of the college football offseason for myself. I'm TBD on how I want to approach the Heisman, Gabe, but I didn't want to wait anymore. There's, odds boost, different things out there. So I put my win totals in. I've got 5 of them. I don't know, you might have quadruple that and a lot much, lower level schools. I think I'm more at the top than at the bottom, if you will. And then again, the national title picks are in as well. I'm sure we'll talk about those this week and certainly a lot next week as well.
One thing about the Heisman Trophy, you want to look for value. I remember a couple of years ago, it's been a little while since Joe Burrow was in college, evidently, but like Phil Steele, we had Phil Steele on the show, and I asked him, what do you think about the Heisman? He said, keep your eye on Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow was like 150 to 1 at the time, Kevin, right? Like people just sort of wrap these things up and want to hand it to the favorite. Like, we'll have time to get into this throughout the week and the next week. And, I guess 2 weeks before, there's no real Heisman Trophy candidates playing this week. Although I do think the USC quarterback gets slept on, Maiva, a little bit. But with that being stated, 700 is not a bad number, right? Plus 700, but C.J. Carr, Arch Manning, Jeremiah Smith, it's probably somebody else, right? History tells us it's usually somebody else, Kevin, than the favorites. And, I want to back it up, right? We'll come up with a couple of Heisman picks and stuff, and I'll bring some numbers as far as how the favorites generally don't get it done when it comes to the Heisman, but great time of the year right now. And it's like almost going back to school ourselves as well. There's 138 teams, Kevin, and I got to be honest with you. I didn't spend a ton of time over the last 5 days when I was on the road with the Rageaholics breaking down college football rosters. But with that being stated, I actually did in the airport today. I had a couple out. I'm sitting there, and I ended up breaking down the Monmouth, Tennessee, Tech game on Thursday. So I'm ready to go, Kevin. And one thing I want to throw out here, too, with college football, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are seeing the same thing right now. This is as hard as it's ever been, Kevin. I'm not talking about, win totals are difficult as well. But as far as, week 0, week 1 and stuff, generally college football teams, and one of the beautiful things about college football, right, was the continuity of it, right? Oh, man. They've got 16 juniors, and they've got a bunch of seniors, and they've got a bunch of this. So many of these games, guys, in week 0 this week and in week 1, there's been so much roster overhaul, right? There's 70 new players on Memphis. 70, Kevin. Yeah. Yet a lot of them are good, right? Like, it's not like, oh, yeah, they're all scrubs. It's like, no. A lot of them left. The good kids left for Arkansas with the coach. And the other kids all came in from Southern Miss with the new coach, Kevin. Right? Like one of these weird,
that's one of the really big deals you see. Like Auburn's offense, Gabe, is South Florida's offense from last year. Penn State is basically Iowa State, right? And some people are like, okay, there's some continuity, but I can tell you this right now. I'm not interested in backing Penn State or Auburn. I'm good on South Florida's offense playing an SEC schedule. I'm good on, I get it. I know Penn State's schedule's a joke. I get it. I'm good on Iowa State rolling up into the Big Ten and making a joke out of it. People are betting Penn State to make the playoff, win 10 games. I'm not there. I don't agree with that at all. Just because Penn State has an easy schedule means, yeah, they're not going to win 4 games, but I really don't think that's going to be a 10-win football team in a Happy Valley game.
No, I'm not overly excited. People are getting a little bit too excited about the schedule for Penn State. And let's not, leaving any conference and coming into the Big Ten or the SEC is a very difficult task for a lot of coaches. And listen, Matt Campbell, he's finally pulled the trigger, right? I mean, we're talking about a guy, Kevin, that used to be an NFL candidate, right? I don't know. Listen, I'm an old school Matt Campbell guy, Kevin. I remember him with the Toledo Rockets when he was the youngest coach in the country. And, he was like 30, 31 years old, and he was the head coach at Toledo, and I liked him a lot. Okay, he did okay at Iowa State. I guess we're going to find out. Is he this, because he has been one of the hottest coaching candidates over the years. Now we'll find out. Because before it was always like, well, his resources are limited at Iowa State, and he's going to have unlimited resources right now. So, we'll see how it plays out. But we see, man, every college coach, Kevin, at this time of the year, during the media weeks and all that, they're all a great hire, aren't they? Right? They're all a great fit.
Sure.
They all win the press conference. Oh, I love what he said, right? I mean, I'm old enough to remember when they threw a parade for Billy Napier when they hired him.
Yeah. It wasn't that long ago.
Just ran his house out of town, Kevin. Right? It's a shredder, this stuff.
I wanted to bring
shredder.
Up, a Big Ten quarterback, though. The idea of getting some value in the Heisman market. I don't love the Washington Huskies, but Devin Williams is the type of guy who can put up the statistics to be in the conversation. He's currently 55-1. Their first 3 games are Washington State, Utah State, Eastern Washington. They're going to be laying 20 in these games. If they play to the score and he goes out there and it's 5 touchdowns per game, which it could be, right? He didn't go back. Listen, he tried to leave Washington to go to LSU. They kind of held his feet to the fire. They got him to come back. But the way to make this happy, Gabe, is for him to go out there and go off, right? Not hand the ball off 100 times.
Let me reword that for you. He took $2 million from Washington and then turned around and signed with LSU. He signed. He signed the deal. And then he turned around and said,
tough scene for him.
And he didn't want to give the money back at first. It was one of these
that's a little nuts. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know
that.
Yeah,
he didn't want to give basically they told him, listen, kid, we're going to sue you, and this is not going to end well for you. You're not going to end up playing anywhere next year. So he sort of backed off, and he blamed his people. Coach, Jet Fish, sorry,
good
coach,
move.
wasn't really me, wasn't
good
me.
Move.
It's a
good move.
And listen, Lane Kiffin would sign Ocho Cinco if he could right now. So we see, evidently,
100%.
This guy, he has no shame whatsoever.
He's probably still trying to sign Williams, Gabe. He's probably still like, I don't know, this kid might suit up for us week 1. I'll tell you right now.
He's a hot quarterback, Kevin. But the thing is, his team won't win enough. But I tell you what, people and scouts and everybody very excited about it. And I won't even try to say his name. Let's just call him like everybody else does, JKS at Cal.
Cal kid. You notice how I knew exactly who you meant when you said I'm not going to try and say his name? Notice how I knew exactly who you were talking about.
Come on, Sharon Kawhi. So,
I liked your first idea. That's your first idea. Quick break, guys. We'll be right back.
JKS.
In-game live here on SportsGrid on a Monday night. We've popped over to the Heisman market. Why not? There's a couple of names that I think are really interesting. I know there's a couple of quarterbacks, Gabe, that you find interesting. Give me one or two names that you're focused in on.
I'm excited about this, guys, just because we're talking about value. Listen, CJ Carr's going to put up big numbers at the same point in time, and Kevin's the Irish fan here amongst us. Notre Dame are going to be blowing a lot of teams out. They can't get this kid hurt. Right, they have a bigger. It's not about him. He's the top-rated NFL prospect quarterback. The Heisman's nice, but that's just icing on the cake. The whole, if you're Notre Dame, it's about winning a national championship, right? It's about getting to the damn playoffs, about getting to the playoffs and then winning once.
Can I actually give you a quick insight on the Notre Dame Heisman situation? So, Aeneas Williams is going to have to step in for Love and Price. He's 225 to 1. He's not as good as either guy. But what if he gets a bigger workload?
He might be.
But, Gabe, what we know is this. What if he gets a bigger workload? Because those guys were splitting some carries. The other thing I'm going to have to ask a book to list the number. It's not very likely to win. But Gabe, how much people respect Leonard Moore, the cornerback. If Notre Dame have the best defense in the country, I'm just curious what they would price it at. You know what I mean? Again, I would need a huge number to bet a defensive player. But I think you would agree with this. The story of the Notre Dame season, Notre Dame are not the national championship favorites just because of C.J. Carr. It's not the C.J. Carr show. He's just the starting quarterback. There's a lot of favorites because of their schedule. Notre Dame.
They're favorites because of their schedule. They don't play anybody.
And their roster. Well, they play more ranked teams than Miami. They play more ranked teams than Miami.
There's 10 or 15 teams, and Miami have more NFL prospects than Notre Dame do. Notre Dame might have a couple of bigger studs. Yeah, they do.
Notre Dame's much better than Miami. They're going to drill that team.
No. All right, no, I didn't say who's better or not. I said Miami will have more players drafted in the NFL draft than Notre Dame.
We'll see.
Point blank. They have more blue chips. They have more studs. I think Notre Dame might be the better college football team, right? But it's the schedule, right? There's a lot of teams are stacked, you know what I mean, and have these nasty rosters. But for me, guys, looking at the Heisman, there's a couple of names here. Mensah could have a good year with Miami. Kevin's nemesis, who he hates. So you got to keep your eye on that. 10 to 1, okay. Dante Moore, I'm not buying in for the Heisman. I think, Lanning, they're all about winning. They have a million players. They spread the ball around everywhere. I'm not buying into Julian Saint either. Trinidad Chambliss can't dismiss, guys. All right? Chambliss is going to have another big year this year. But for me, I keep going back to the USC quarterback, everybody. And what I like about this, Kevin, I'm just going to throw it out there for everybody. I don't believe in equity. All right? I hate that when I see people online. Oh, I got equity. It's now this. Good for you. Doesn't mean it's going to win. So the number moved. All right? It's a long-ass season. But with that being stated, out of all these names, who's playing? There's only one guy playing this weekend. And that's Jordan Maeva, the quarterback of the USC Trojans. And, they're 38.5-point favorites against San Jose State. And they're probably going to cover the number. All right, I think that Lane's going to want to, or Lincoln's going to want to send a message early. I think he is into this Heisman stuff, and he's got a lot to prove. So he's going to have an opportunity to showcase himself. Throw probably 4 touchdown passes this week. 3-4 touchdown passes, probably 4. And then, by the way, the USC Trojans, Kevin, are on national television next Friday night. You and I will be on, God willing. They're hosting Fresno State. Dude, that's San Jose State and Fresno State. He's going to have 8 touchdown passes before any one of these other guys even takes a snap, bro. It won't be 25 to 1 anymore. That'll dip to 7-8 to 1. People go, oh, my God, we slept on him. Oh, yeah, by the way, this kid's been around a while in this offense, and we've seen what Lincoln Riley can do with college quarterbacks, Kevin. He's going to put big numbers up, even though it's in the Big Ten. I don't care it's in the Big Ten. He's still going to put massive numbers up.
He put up massive numbers last year. He's the second best QBR in all of college football. The second best QBR in all of college football.
Nobody talks about it.
I agree with you, Gabe. I completely agree with you. And I'm on an island on this.
He
probably.
started at
I
UNLV,
think they can beat
just
Oregon.
for the record, everybody. He was the one that sort of got the party going at UNLV. And once again, I'll admit when I'm wrong, Kevin. When he went to USC, I was like, I don't know, man. It's a big step up, bro. You had a nice year at UNLV. You think you can play USC now? blue chip. You got blue chip quarterbacks here. He didn't start right away, Kevin, but he earned the job, and he knows this offense inside out.
Giving Lincoln Riley. It's also like,
I agree.
I like Maeva, right? Gabe, like you do, but it's almost just a bet on Lincoln Riley's quarterback to win the Heisman Trophy, which has been a profitable bet over the last decade. That has been a profitable
Kyler
wager.
Murray, Baker Mayfield's hard to keep up, right? I don't know. He's got a bunch.
And Caleb Williams. They've had 3 guys win it. Forget just be in the conversation, right? Like they had 3 guys outright win it. Like it's incredibly, incredibly impressive. But
James
one thing that's
kind
interesting
of Caleb
to me,
like too. Not as that, you know what? Like Caleb sort of thrives in chaos. I think James better in the pocket. Like James really good, Kevin, at that like 3-step drop type stuff. He's a big kid too, right? So he sees over people. He's got a strong arm, throws it like right at people's faces. He's used to working with elite wide receivers. Like I said, there's a lot to like about him, even, to me, at the next level. So, 25-1, guys, I think he puts up big numbers against San Jose State on Saturday. He gets an opportunity to put up big numbers again next Friday night against Fresno State. And he has a big head start on everybody else. Doesn't mean he's going to win, but I'm just telling you right now, that 25-1 will not be there next Saturday morning after he puts up 7-8 touchdown passes in the first 2 games.
Yeah, I agree. And look, I do think there is value in, because I don't like a lot of the short numbers here, right? If somebody does trip up, right? Like it's things are going to drop quite massively. Saying like the loser of Ohio State, Texas, their quarterback's going to take a massive dip in this market.
You know what's weird, Ohio State? Like they got all this skill, Kevin, but they're kind of a grinded out team. I mean, they throw the ball against Michigan. They don't run for whatever reason, and it costs them, right? If they just ran the ball against Michigan, they would beat them. But I was thinking about that because they have these stud wide receivers all the time, but it's like, I don't know. You don't really use them that much. So,
Michigan are in there. I think the evidence is clear. Michigan are in there. In-game live, we're back with everybody on a Monday night. Major League Baseball board is off and running here. Man, we've got college football coming. I know a lot of you all are starting to get ready for your... Yeah. They have the bases loaded with nobody out, though, Gabe, so I'm actually disappointed by that.
2 out
when
now.
you have the bases loaded, nobody out, it's got to be a little bit better.
2 out now.
No, Miami did, I'm saying, in the inning.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's how they scored. Sack fly.
Yeah, there it is. But hey, I like the under. That's sorry, Kyle. That's going to bring it up. I like the under of this game, but I didn't pull the trigger just because it went down to 7. It was 7.5. Saw some sevens. I'm like, man, that's pretty low. But here we go. It's a very low scoring game. But like you said, there's been runners in scoring positions so far.
I was a little surprised at the price, Gabe. Like, Sandy Alcantara is actually someone that I feel I fade more often than back because I feel like he gets more respect than maybe the Marlins deserve. But Miami's playing good baseball, and he's just having a really good season here. I think I had a plus 112. Like, this isn't the same Red Sox to me that, like, every night you were like, oh, obviously they're going to win. They swept the Giants. Who cares? Giants are terrible. It was at Fenway. They only covered the run line in one of those games. Like that, I don't know. I thought Miami, we'll see if it wins, but I thought it was a bit of a generous price there. I played the under in Tampa Bay, Detroit. We'll see what Rasmussen does.
Another one.
Trying to bounce back after getting smashed by the Jays his last go-around.
I'm on the Rays here tonight, and I've always been, and I'm just putting in a play here, 6.5. I'm going to pull the trigger here on the Red Sox and the Marlins. Under 6.5, Red Sox, Marlins. But I'm on the Rays here tonight, and over the years, Kev, I was a big, and everyone knows this, I was a big Framber Valdez guy. He really was like the most consistent, not the best pitcher in baseball, but the most consistent pitcher, as far as and I hate a lot of these new terms and stuff, quality starts. Quality start used to mean, you won 7, whatever, and 8, whatnot. Now, quality starts, whatever, him going at least 5 and giving up 2 runs or less. But he was very consistent with Houston, right? He'd give you 6 innings, he'd give up a run or 2, and he'd do his thing over and over and over again. He started to slip a little bit. Then we had that incident in which he crossed his catcher up, and, there was some clubhouse drama with him, and they basically said, all right, this guy is starting to slip a little bit, and he's also starting to, change his personality. He ends up with Detroit, and he's never really been all that, Kevin. Right? I just didn't trust him tonight. There's just too many games where he gives up 3, 4. He gives up early runs. He puts his team in a hole here. It's only 2 runs right now, 2-0. But a pitcher that I used to trust a lot, I simply don't anymore. You got to adapt, right? Just because you won money with betting on a guy 4 or 5 years ago doesn't mean he's still good now, right? I mean, I used to run to the window when Walker Buehler pitched, Kevin. I don't anymore.
The tough thing for Valdez, Gabe, is he was supposed to be so firmly the number 2 guy on this team.
Yeah, really solidify, right? Bring that together, right? With Scooble and Flaherty and not a bad staff.
Exactly. And all of a sudden now, this is a Detroit team. So here's kind of, I'm sure at some point we're going to talk a little Blue Jays tonight, right? About having soft schedules and the opportunities that can come with that. Well, guess what? The Detroit Tigers went to Pittsburgh for 3 and Kansas City for 3. They went 1-5. That's all there is to it. This team has been booked as a favorite. They have now lost, 8 of their last 9 games. I think they've been a favorite in all but 1 or 2 of those games, Gabe. So it's not just enough to have a soft schedule. You have to capitalize on it. And the Tigers, because now here the Tigers, they play the Rays for 3 and the Dodgers for 3.
If you remember, I said this about a month ago, Kevin, when we talk about the strength of schedule and all that. I'm like, okay, I don't really buy into that stuff too much. I really don't.
You're going to with Toronto.
I don't.
You are.
And no, but my point is, I remember it was 2 years ago. It wasn't last year. It was 2 years ago. And it was Arizona's manager. And they had a really sort of they were playing a lot of bad teams, over the last couple of weeks of the season. And somebody asked him about it. He got really mad. He goes, I don't give an F. He goes, doesn't matter who we're playing if we can't beat them. And he said, we're not beating anyone. So, So the thing with the Jays, and I wasn't going to bring the Jays up. I'm in college football mode. I'm fired up, Kevin, now. And the WNBA, too. They should put Cantor in jail, throw away the key, Kevin. Lock this guy up. What's he doing? But anyways.
Yeah.
But as far as the Jays are concerned, guys, the Jays, they don't play the rest of the season. They don't play a game against someone with a winning record. And it's wow. You literally have 30 games left against teams that are 500 or less. It sounds good until you remember, but so are you. You're not a 500 team either. Right? The Blue Jays are 4 games under 500. So
I wasn't going to bring the Jays up, but if you did, I got a couple of stats, by the way.
You did.
Back here on a Monday night. Gabe says he's in college football mode. I like that. There are a few college win totals I've played. Let me just do a temperature check with you, Gabe. Because I think it was like a month ago, you got Twitter ablaze. You're like, I got about 7 I like at the lowest level. And everyone was like, gimme. Where are you at win total-wise in college football? How many do you think you're going to want to play? What's that card like?
I've got about 10 of them here right now. And let me see, 1, 2, 3. So here we go. I got them loaded up here, and I'll start throwing them some out here right now, as long as you asked about this. Northern Illinois. All right, so we're talking about Northern Illinois,
okay,
who have been one of the MAC mainstays over the years, right? They've been up and down, right? They actually made it to the Orange Bowl years ago, Kevin, believe it or not. They got lit the F up, but they made it to the Orange Bowl. They played in one of those like BCS games and stuff like Northern. I forget who they played. Somebody, who the hell did Northern Illinois play in that game? I remember it was the Orange Bowl. It didn't end well for them, but they've had, I don't want to bring it up, but of course they've had, pretty big win against, against Notre Dame. Yep. So, we've seen Northern Illinois sort of punch above their body weight over the years, but their head coach kind of caught on and left for the NFL. Right? Not a head coach. Where's he an assistant at now? He split. He got an assistant job in the National Football League, and he split. And for whatever reason, Northern Illinois has joined the Mountain West Conference.
Yep.
Like, why? And in the same way, guys, and their style doesn't fit. Like, their teams are going to throw on them. They can't score. It's going to be a big problem for them. And, it's like USC, UCLA, and Washington, et cetera, guys. They have it harder in the Big Ten they have to go to the Midwest a bunch of times, right? If you're Michigan, I talked about it. The Michigan basketball team, guys, went to L.A. Kevin, they stayed at the Beverly Wilshire Hilton Hotel for 5 days. They played USC and UCLA. If you're like these West Coast teams, you've got to go there all the time, right? You're the ones flying back and forth all the time. And now Northern Illinois are going to find themselves in this situation. They're not built to be flying 2,500 miles to games, Kevin. They're used to taking buses and losing those games against bad MAC teams. Like they're not winning 4 games this year, right? Their win total was 3.5. They lost their coach. All the players left after the fact. Here's another one too. North Texas, under 5.5. North Texas lost their entire team to Oklahoma State. They're completely starting over. Do they get to 6? Maybe. I don't think they do, actually. They have a pretty difficult schedule as well. Southern Mississippi's another one with a brutal schedule. The coach left. They got smashed by the transfer portal. We were just talking about it. All their kids split for Memphis, right? Mm-hmm. All the Southern Miss kids are on the Memphis Tigers right now. Southern Miss under 3.5. Here's another one, too. Missouri State lost their entire team. Like, basically, that's the problem with these, like, smaller schools. They can't keep their players, right? So Missouri State lost their entire team. They got a brutal schedule. They're not winning 5 games. Western Michigan, 7.5 is another one. Really tough schedule. They're not getting to 8. And Western Michigan opened up the season against the Michigan Wolverines. All right, so that's just one game they're going to lose right away. Boom. So suddenly, take the Michigan game out of this, and for you to win this bet, they need to go 8-3 after that. You want to do that? Like, just put it in that context. Think about that. You trust Western Michigan enough that, they're going to lose to Michigan, but they're going to win 8 of their next 11 games after that. I'm not buying into that. One trendy team, I got a bunch of unders here, Kevin, but one trendy team, and I don't know how you feel about this team, Oklahoma State. I am buying the hype, actually, with Oklahoma State. I've seen some people predict they're going to make the playoffs. I think that's a step too far, but I think they go over their win total of 5.5, and I think this is probably a 7-win football team. They are stacked. It's basically North Texas's playoff team from last year. And so you bring in the potent offense from North Texas. You keep the stud athletes from Oklahoma State, and suddenly you have a nice blend of a football team, Kevin. I think the Oklahoma State Cowboys will be a fun team this year, and I do think they go over the 5.5.
I think it's always nice when you can get a 5.5 if you really like the coach as well, because that bowl eligibility does matter to these programs.
Keeps them motivated.
In the Big 12, there's a 5.5 at a plus 130 that I really like, which is Cincinnati over. The Bearcats have, if you look through all the different rankings, it kind of doesn't make any sense. One of the best offensive lines in the country. Like, as far as the Big 12 goes nationally, the only team that gets respected is Texas Tech. And I'm not saying that Cincinnati's viewed as a power, but their offensive line is
other one a little bit, Kevin. Willie Fritz and the Houston Cougars this year. Right, ranked in the top, come in ranked 23, right? The top 25 ranking for the first time in a while, a preseason ranking for the Houston Cougars. Definitely going in the right direction.
The 5-star Heisman, 5-star freshman that people think can play quarterback.
I don't put them on that level. Thing is, the Big 12, people are sleeping on BYU again, I think, Kevin. And you got Texas Tech, and Texas Tech's schedule was just very favorable. So they have a stacked roster and a favorable schedule. Wouldn't be surprised if Texas Tech back in the playoff.
I'll be stunned if Texas Tech isn't in the playoff. Their schedule is easier than Notre Dame's. It just is. They are better than everybody else in this conference. And if they handle their business, they may not even need to win the Big 12 in order to make the playoff. And they are also comfortable favorites to win the Big 12. I'll be absolutely stunned if they're not in the... Yes, go ahead. Let me see if they don't play BYU or Utah.
No, they don't. Like, they really don't. If you look at the season, guys...
Their time getting angry at Notre Dame's schedule.
One big game. Houston Cougars.
They're going to destroy.
And they're going to be like 10-point favorites or something, right? They're going to be like they're going to be favorites. Third week of the season. But yeah, if you look at it, really is soft. Thing is, though, you can't. It's not Notre Dame gets called out because they're an independent, right? And that's always going to just, it's going to happen.
People don't like Notre Dame. Yeah.
And listen, Notre Dame at times gets benefits for being the independent, but they didn't last year.
No,
they didn't last year. They finally, the committee basically said, because if Notre Dame was a conference team, they would have been in the playoffs last year, obviously, right? But it was the conference basically said, you know what, screw them, right? Screw them. But the thing is, Kevin, with Texas Tech's schedule, it's the luck of the draw, right, with some of these conference schedules. It is what it is, Is their non-conference schedule soft? Yes. I mean, they're playing ACU. Like they're playing ACU, Abilene Christian to start the year. They go to Oregon State. The Houston to Texas Tech game, they're going to beat Houston. But after that, actually, Kevin, the team that you just talked about, actually, Texas Tech at Cincinnati could be a landmine for them October the 24th.
And here's the thing, though, with Texas Tech. They can lose a game, and it's not going to kill them. Because they're still then heavy favorites to make the Big 12 title game.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what it is with Texas Tech?
They have a huge security blanket.
A lot of people sort of, I don't know if people don't like them, but it kind of came out of nowhere. They're the poster boys for this new spending stuff. Like, they really are, right? Like, it's sort of an equalizer, actually, right? Because Texas Tech really wasn't competing before, but Texas Tech, and I love actually, normally be like, they're just a bunch of spoiled rich kids and stuff, but I love that they own it, Kevin. And one of the kids of Texas Tech had the best sign in the stands at College GameDay last year. I love oil money.
Oh, wow.
It was just too good. Like, they're just admitting it. It's like, yeah, we have a bunch of oil money and we're overpaying everybody, but like, suddenly we're good. But I think, Kevin, because of the Sorsby stuff, people don't like them. We've got negative. And the other thing is they think, it's such a big drop-off between Sorsby and Will Hammond at the quarterback position. Whatever, dude. The only difference is, Kevin, so what? Instead with Sorsby, they would have won 38-10. Now they win 28-10. You know what I mean? Like, seriously. It's a difference. Like,
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
It's kind of cut and dry that the Dodgers are going to win it, which is not a guarantee. This is not taxes and death, so to speak. The Dodgers can lose games. We've seen it. They had a long losing streak. So the Dodgers could maybe fall off. You never know. Now, I do expect them to make the playoffs, and I expect them to win the division, and I expect them to win the NLDS. But then anything after that, I think is suspect.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Miami going to the Big Ten is massive. It gives the university, in my opinion, it's a strong university. It's AAU. It's got championship pedigree. And I think it would have a massive recruiting advantage, to be candid, if it were to join the Big Ten. And I think that's making some of the bigger players in that conference a little nervous.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
The dark days are ahead for the Warriors. And when Curry and Kerr and Draymond all leave, what are we going to be looking at that franchise that has been a mainstay of the NBA, the face of the NBA and NBA playoffs for so long? Where are they going to be? So I see no issue with them bringing Draymond back. Why not? You have one last go at things with the trio that they still have there. But I see this as a very long season.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Back on Sports Grid, it's in-game live. Let's update your baseball board here quickly, and then we'll jump over to the WNBA. We just got our first runs in Colorado, Washington with the Rockies, Willie Castro with a solo shot. And then the Rays added another run up on Detroit. That is currently 3-0. WNBA-wise, Gabe, not my favorite slate, to be honest with you. I played the over when the Lynx and Valkyries played the other night. Did not get close. So it's like the only thing I could do is like go back to it, but I'm feeling gun shy. It was such an under. The Valkyries are just so clearly outmatched by Minnesota. The thing is, like, the Valkyries are now in danger of losing a third game in a row. I don't want to say they're unraveling, but it's a bad time for a losing streak. I will say that.
Well, you've brought it up, and I like this Golden State team. Listen, they've hit a wall a little bit, and they haven't lost 6 games in a row, right? It's been 2 games in a row. So,
but they're only a game and a half up on the 5th seed, right? Like, it's just
no.
All of a sudden, that's the standings look real.
Yeah, no, they're starting to drop. They're losing positioning right now, and you brought it up accurately. So, as far as this team is concerned, Golden State have a hard time against the top elite teams, and in fact, they're 0-6. And Minnesota have really rattled them as well. I don't really understand, though, Kevin. What am I missing here? And I just double-checked. I don't see anything as far as the lineup is concerned, like overly concerning. It was 5.5. It's 4.5 now. It just fell to, the spread just fell to 4.5 in the Lynx in the Valkyrie game. But I'm with you.
Courtney Williams is out. I mean,
like the Valkyries aren't a great prop team. So, like, every time we talk about the Valkyries, I play Tiffany Hayes a lot because it's always 8.5 or 9.5. So she's kind of my go-to with them. Minnesota is tricky because they're so good and, minutes, this and that. And as great as Olivia Miles is, she's all over the place. Like, one night she'll have 1 million assists, another night she'll have 1 million points. Like, she's sort of all over the place. I think you can make a legitimate argument now, Kevin. I know, like, A'ja Wilson, great player. Like, giving A'ja Wilson the MVP is like a very, like, NBA type thing. I mean, like, Vegas are really good. Like, they've got other good players on the team. I get it. She's the queen of the WNBA, right? I'm not going to dispute it, but my point is, I think you can make a legitimate argument that Olivia Miles actually could win Rookie of the Year and MVP, Kevin, and deserve it. They didn't have Collier. Collier was out.
Yeah.
Like, she's just dominating right now on a team that is dominating. Right? I mean, I don't want to punish her because she is a rookie. Like, is she the most important player to her team so far this year? And, like, just imagine. So Collier is hurt. What if Olivia Miles is no good, Kevin? We're in Minnesota right now then. Like, she carried the team without Collier, who's one of the greatest WNBA players of all time.
I want to be clear. I think Olivia Miles is, like, very clearly someone who should finish on MVP ballots. But I think Cheryl Reeve is also clearly Coach of the Year, Minnesota's head coach. And
yes.
It is not disrespectful to Olivia, to me, to say she has no argument to be MVP, because that's how much better A'ja Wilson is than everybody else. Like, the Aces are useless when she is off the floor. More than useless when she is off the floor. Her on-off splits are a plus 26.7. Shouldn't even be possible. It's actually down from a year. Like, they get massacred anytime she spends on the bench. She's the leading scorer. Like, think about that. Kelsey Mitchell is having one of the greatest scoring seasons we've ever seen. She averages a full less point per game than A'ja Wilson.
What's amazing is
the reigning defensive player of the year.
Kelsey Mitchell has like 20 plus, whatever it is, games in a row with 20 plus points, which is super hard. Like, we talk about it with SGA doing it. It's harder to do in a WNBA. And she's 40-1 right now, like you said.
Yeah.
Just 41. Listen, Olivia Miles still plus 750. It's going to be A'ja Wilson, but I'm just saying, like, I think you can make an argument Olivia Miles, like, has been the most valuable player to her team. Now, you could bring up, like, they get drilled without her when A'ja Wilson isn't there, but just, amazing.
But what do you think about
player.
my point, Gabe, though, in terms of the Coach of the Year being Reeve for Minnesota, right? Like, sometimes with the award stuff, like, if you want Minnesota to clean sweep because they're that much better than everybody else, like there's an argument to that. But
she's known as the best coach in the league, right? She is.
Yeah.
She's the coach of the U.S. national team for a reason.
They don't get enough respect, right? Like best coaches in leagues often don't get enough respect.
But my
point
is,
looked over a lot.
She coaches the U.S. team, right? That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Like she's the one. I think the Golden State's coach will be the future one. She's an assistant on the team now. I think that Reeves kind of grooming her a little bit down the road, but I think Reeves going to be around a while still. But yeah, no, great coach. And it's a tricky game. You know, listen, it's down to 4.5. I think Minnesota going to cover, guys. I think Minnesota going to cover. Okay. And then I'm going prop heavy late, but I'm keeping this pretty simple here, Kevin. I'm going to go money line parlay. Give me the Minnesota Lynx and the Atlanta Dream tonight, minus 145. And you talk about peaking at the right time. This Atlanta Dream team's really starting to peak right now, man. They're playing some great basketball.
They are.
I mean, Howard's going off daily. Like, people use do what you want with Angel Reese, but she just dropped 31 the other day. Right? I mean, Caitlin scores 22 and you want to hold a parade for her, right? Like Angel Reese is balling right now and she's feeding off the hate, which I like. Like, it doesn't bother her. Like, I think she almost she likes it. She feeds off of it. And as I say, I like a Howard prop a little bit later on. You and I know you've liked this Dream team a lot already, but I'm saying they're peaking. They're playing really good basketball right now. And they're speaking like you were talking about the Valkyries dropping in the standings. The Dream are working their way up to the top of the ladder here.
No, Gabe, so it's really funny, but they beat Vegas. And despite the fact that I really like this team, I was super excited to fade them when they played LA. I was like, oh my God, best win of the season. They're not going to be up for this game. I took 9.5. They lost the game by 30. They beat the Sparks by 36 points. And then they followed up by beating, Phoenix by 10. I mean, that was the game that Angel had 20, 10, and 8 on 100% shooting from the field. Like, she has absolutely hit a stride here, Angel Reese, over recent times. We'll talk more about this. It's a quick break, guys. It's In Game Live on SportsGrid.
It's kind of cut and dry that the Dodgers are going to win it, which is not a guarantee. This is not taxes and death, so to speak. The Dodgers can lose games. We've seen it. They had a long losing streak. So the Dodgers could maybe fall off. You never know. Now, I do expect them to make the playoffs, and I expect them to win the division, and I expect them to win the NLDS. But then anything after that, I think is suspect.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Miami going to the Big Ten is massive. It gives the university, in my opinion, it's a strong university. It's AAU. It's got championship pedigree. And I think it would have a massive recruiting advantage, to be candid, if it were to join the Big Ten. And I think that's making some of the bigger players in that conference a little nervous.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
What Michigan have to play versus Penn State is insane. Like, instead of Big Ten teams worrying about SEC and all that, like, Michigan fans should not be happy about what Matt Campbell gets to walk into. James Franklin's got to be kicking himself. Penn State do not play Oregon, Indiana, or Ohio State. They avoided the entire Big Three of the it's incredible.
In Game Live, only on SportsGrid.
The dark days are ahead for the Warriors. And when Curry and Kerr and Draymond all leave, what are we going to be looking at that franchise that has been a mainstay of the NBA, the face of the NBA and NBA playoffs for so long? Where are they going to be? So I see no issue with them bringing Draymond back. Why not? You have one last go at things with the trio that they still have there. But I see this as a very long season.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Back right here on SportsGrid, we were just talking.
Red Sox going
What
to
do
tie
you
the
got?
game. Red Sox, just as we came back. Just as we came back, literally like, boom, the ball. I thought it was going to be a home run. Smoked it off the back of the wall. And there was a runner on first. Duran was on first. So Dern's on first. Duran on first. Scores. We got a 1-1 ball game right now.
Yeah,
And,
Miami missed a big opportunity early in this game. Bases loaded, nobody
open.
out, only one run. You have to do better than that, and they didn't. That's really all there is to it. So, not back
right
in the
off
race
the glove too. I don't know if you see it. Right off the glove, like he sort of got there. That's a hard ass catch though. Like Buddy smoked the ball. Like it was one of those like it was like a launch angle, like line drive type thing that kept going and like going higher and higher as it went on. But you never really got the feeling it was going to clear the wall. But he did a good job actually getting back there. But yeah, we got a runner on second, one out right now. Siegler's up at the plate. Alcantara's only got 59 pitches though so far, and they threw the throw into home plate over. That's when I went, oh my god! They threw it over the catcher's head, but Alcantara did a good job backing up the catcher.
Okay. All right, good job.
Fundamentals. Fundamentals matter, man. Good job by Alcantara there. He saved himself. Otherwise, the runner would have been on third base with one out. So, yeah, we got a 1-1 game. Here, one of these weird nights tonight with the baseball schedule, guys. We had a bunch of 6:40 games. We have a few late games coming up. Let's get to the WNBA because I got time to get to the Guardian pick. You know, my boy Messick's on the hill here tonight, so we're going to pull the trigger. But whatever. I don't even have any props for this game, guys. Just give me the Minnesota Lynx to win the game. Moneyline parlayed with the Atlanta Dream. It's minus 145, and I'll lay the 4.5 with the Lynx as well. So I'll double dip with it.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I want to play the over. I'm hoping maybe I can find like an in-game spot with everybody here tonight. It's very difficult for me because these are a couple of games that are rematches of two games that I just recently lost in, right? So for me, it's either go back to it or nothing. I don't really want to get in front of Atlanta right now. I don't really want to play an over in a Golden State game right now. So we'll see what in-game opportunities pop for us here in the WNBA. And I know, Gabe, you were talking about a little bit here, just kind of the standings. Like, it's not just Golden State, but, you know, it's really hard to overstate how wild the seeding situation is right now. Nobody wants to probably play Vegas in round one. Kevin. But nobody wants to also play the Lynx in round two. And also, I think you're like one fire loss away from the playoff. It's funny, Gabe, like the playoff will be locked in terms of the 8 teams pretty early, but nothing other than like Minnesota for the 1 seed's really going to be shored up until the final very, very few games.
Well, we don't have any. How many games are left? 2? This is it, Kevin. I mean,
how many games are there? It's a little bit more than that. 1, 2.
Season's all but done.
6.
Right, so they got six left.
Yeah, you're right. I thought it was. It felt like more than that. It felt like it was more than
have 6 left. But so you know what? It goes on longer than I thought. Actually, the regular season ends Thursday, September the 24th. So yeah, it's going to be the 8 teams.
Bizarre, right? 6 games in a month.
Yeah, but there's so much jockeying for seeding going on still. Right? I mean, so Dallas and Washington are right there. I mean, dude, even Dallas, who we don't really talk about much, and for the record, Fudd's going to be out for the rest of the year now. So Dallas are 22-16, Kevin. Washington are 22-15.
Quickly, Gabe,
the
on
Liberty only have 23. Yeah.
Because you're someone who, and I mean this sincerely, you're someone who I trust with the topic, okay? When do you think that AZ Fudd draft pick becomes controversial with the season that Olivia Miles is having?
I didn't like the pick at the time.
But and that's the thing, right, guys.
And I brought it up.
A lot of people did not think that Fudd was worth the first choice in real time, not a hindsight thing. And now,
no. My deal at the time was she's not the best available player. Number 2, are you doing this to appease Paige? Number 3, and I'll be honest, and I'm just going to admit it, I'm not sure I want a couple on my team. A star couple. I don't mind, Kevin, if it's a star and someone at the end of the bench and stuff, but if I got 2 of my best players in a relationship, I don't know. It just seems like it could be a toxic situation at some point.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I brought it up like openly, and I said, listen, I'm just being honest from a coaching perspective. It's like, yeah, you're inheriting a lot here. Right. And she wasn't the best player available, and she wasn't the best fit for them, Kevin. Miles, they could have went big with, Fan like as well.
Age of Miles. Hard not to imagine.
It's kind of cut and dry that the Dodgers are going to win it, which is not a guarantee. This is not taxes and death, so to speak. The Dodgers can lose games. We've seen it. They had a long losing streak. So the Dodgers could maybe fall off. You never know. Now, I do expect them to make the playoffs, and I expect them to win the division, and I expect them to win the NLDS. But then anything after that, I think is suspect.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Miami going to the Big Ten is massive. It gives the university, in my opinion, it's a strong university. It's AAU. It's got championship pedigree. And I think it would have a massive recruiting advantage, to be candid, if it were to join the Big Ten. And I think that's making some of the bigger players in that conference a little nervous.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
What Michigan have to play versus Penn State is insane. Like, instead of Big Ten teams worrying about SEC and all that, like, Michigan fans should not be happy about what Matt Campbell gets to walk into. James Franklin's got to be kicking himself. Penn State do not play Oregon, Indiana, or Ohio State. They avoided the entire Big Three of the it's incredible.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
You know, the dark days are ahead for the Warriors. And when Curry and Kerr and Draymond all leave, what are we going to be looking at that franchise that has been a mainstay of the NBA, you know, the face of the NBA and NBA playoffs for so long? Where are they going to be? So I see no issue with them bringing Draymond back. Why not? You have one last go at things with the trio that they still have there. But I see this as a very long season.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
In-game live on a Monday night. Kevin Walsh, Gabriel Morency, following the baseball, following the WNBA, college football in the air, but NFL news as well. I know my guy Gabe's got a few fantasy leagues filling with some of you viewers out there joining those leagues, which is absolutely awesome. And I'm sure a lot of you are very happy that your draft has not already happened, or at least wasn't happening in the middle of the Ashton Genty prayer circle madness that was yesterday.
Sprained ankle.
They've said it's a sprained ankle, Gabe. I got to tell you, this has completely scared me off of Ashton Genty. I'm almost not fully buying the optimism that this guy's just going to be out there in week 1 or week 2. This all feels sketchy to me.
Breathing a sigh of relief tonight, as they say. What are you breathing a sigh of relief for? Your best player has a sprained ankle. And he's a running back. Kevin, he's a running back. It's not like, don't worry about it. He's, our snapper's got a sprained ankle. He'll suck it up. Like, it's like, no, he's a running back. It's not a high ankle sprain like Love, etc., which is, even like you hear high ankle sprain, you're like, oh boy. But sprained ankle, bro, those things linger, Kevin. You know that.
Yeah. I don't feel good about it. I think that people are kind of just almost, because there's a lot of people who have like done drafts or whatever. There's like the best ball sites. They're like, no, I already decided Genty's fine because I need Genty to be fine. Like, I don't think he's
did have
fine.
10 touchdowns last year. He did a 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns, right?
I know. I'm glad you brought that up. Ashton Genty had one of the more underrated seasons. When you just think about total yards, total touchdowns, he really did pull the season together. he still is on the Las Vegas Raiders, right?
That's the thing. Imagine if he was on your Eagles or my Buffalo Bills. He'd be like Cook. Like, guys, so he did that. So 10 touchdowns, 1,300 combined yards last year. And don't forget, he had that slow start. They really eased him in. He had a slow start, started to get it going on.
He couldn't block, all that issues. Yeah.
And he is a running back. And Ashton Genty, guys, led the National Football League in getting hit behind the line of scrimmage. That's not his fault. He basically, so imagine, guys, by far, we get the official number. So imagine he gets the ball and there's contact behind the line of scrimmage. There's no holes for him. So it kind of goes to show how good he is that he still managed to fight through it with the absolutely terrible offensive line. But I don't see this optimism coming with the Raiders this year. I don't think they're much better. Okay, Kubiak's there, okay, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, actually. There's a professional in charge now, but the roster still has a ton of holes. You're in a very difficult division. You're so far behind everybody else in your division still right now. There's not a lot to like about this Raider team really coming into this year. You have a weird quarterback situation with an over-the-hill Kirk Cousins. Mendoza will struggle when he comes in. I'm not saying that he can't fight through it, but he's going to struggle when he comes in, as we saw with the pick six, and reality sort of kicks in a little bit. And not just him, Kevin. We saw a lot of quarterbacks as the preseason's going on. It's not as easy anymore for them, right? Now, who was it? Drew Aller played against starters. He had problems. Oh, my boy Klubnik, too, with the Jets. That's it. I like Cade.
Oh,
Cade's my guy. Hey, listen, he still fought. He was 7-10 or whatever for 84 yards, whatever. But it just wasn't as easy as the first game he played. You know what I'm saying?
No.
It was.
I do.
And he was playing against the starters, though. And they like to see that. Yeah, he's going to struggle. I'm not calling him out. I'm not calling Mendoza out for the pick six. Get it out of your system, kid. It's going to be more of them. Next time, I like the effort chasing the guy down. Don't die for a tackle. It's not going to happen next time. That's what I would tell him. I don't want you spraining your shoulder trying to look good with the effort. Yeah, exactly.
But that is who he is, though, right? That is who he is. He's of course, he's going to go all out.
Running down after him was enough for me, Kevin. When I saw him jump, I was like, nah, that's not smart. I'm going to tell him, don't do that, because it can land on your shoulder in an awkward way.
I was speaking to someone, though, Gabe, who had told me that they think the Genty news might make them even more cautious with Mendoza. Just with the timeline and everything, if they were going to open this up to some legitimate quarterback battle between
he's not ready,
Cousins
Kevin.
and Mendoza.
Mendoza literally, he's not ready to start an NFL game. At first I was almost like Kirk Cousins, whatever. Even now, would I pay Kirk, whatever it is, what it is. They like him, fine. But it would be foolish to throw Mendoza to the Wolves early. You know what I mean? What's the point of getting this kid killed and you're going to finish 3-14 on the season? That's the way it used to be, right? That's what they know. Troy Aikman and I had a football card of Troy Aikman his rookie year, Kevin. It was his head was getting the Exorcist, twisted sideways.
Oof, yeah.
He went 1-15, got lit up and murdered. People are I don't know if this kid's going to make it, man. He's getting beat up so much. Right, it's a new era now. You sort of ease them in. Mendoza needs some more refining right now. But a thing I wanted to bring up as far as the NFL is concerned, I want to get the number up here. So for week one is the Arizona Cardinal defense, Kevin. I know it's just the preseason, bro, but it's been constant. They can't tackle. They can't tackle, they can't scheme, they can't stop anybody. It's been it's 3 games now. They're just terrible. Right? Total 46.5 in the opening game against the Chargers. Arizona at LA. Instead of
You're already locking in the over?
I'm thinking team total with the Chargers, but you and I talked about it, though.
Yeah.
Arizona can score, though. Arizona can score. Right? That's the thing. Their defense is bad, but they're going to put points up on the board, which will force the other teams to score. They're going to go outscored. So, yeah, I'm going to go over to 46.5. Yes, I am. I'm going over to 46.5. I'll have the Chargers team total, but I'll also have Arizona's team total as well. I think this is going to be I don't know, 34-21 or something like that.
I'm telling you
this.
A
big opening game.
I might be on the Arizona Cardinals the first 11 NFL
You're going to do it, huh?
Sundays.
You're going to do it. Double
I
digits.
can't help.
And I'll tell you what, it's going to go up. Don't do it now. Dude,
I'm not right. Yeah,
Kevin and two, we're going to get 13 and a half probably.
Yeah, I'm not rushing.
How about this one? I'm going to go swing it back to college football right now, but I'm going to step up to the window with New Mexico State this weekend.
Let me see.
You want to lay 31.5 with Florida State?
Oof.
You trust the Florida State Seminoles? Their quarterback, dude. This kid's, Stanford, Auburn, Daniels, they're going to win. But New Mexico State are a scrappy team against the spread, actually. Especially, they're used to getting a million points like this. Florida State are not. This isn't the Bobby Bowden Florida State teams. These guys battle to win games now, all right? Let alone, we're going to post a number. We're going to hang a 35 spot, win by 35 on you. This could backfire on me, Kevin, but I don't trust Florida State laying 31.5. Not with Daniels at quarterback, not with this new offense.
Yeah.
They'll want to get out of there. I could see this being a lower score. New Mexico State has a harder time scoring on them, 31-7. You know what I mean? 31-7, 34-10, something like that. Florida State by 21 or 24, but not 31.5 in my opinion.
I'll tell you, one of the week one lines that I was just kind of staring at, and it's a team we've actually already talked about on the other side of the field, is Indiana against North Texas. Because Indiana are laying 40.5 points. I mean, 40.5. But it is kind of Cignetti's calling card. Is to run these games up.
And you know, Kevin, he's going to want to remind everybody that we're still good. We're still, if you think that, we're not, they might be better for all we know. That's why I brought up Hoover, guys. Hoover's 14-1 to win the Heisman. And one thing with Cignetti is, I'm not going to say he's a jerk, but he kind of is. I mean, he runs the score up on you.
I don't think he'd be angry if you said that. I don't think he'd be mad at you for saying that either.
It's kind of cut and dry that the Dodgers are going to win it, which is not a guarantee. This is not taxes and death, so to speak. The Dodgers can lose games. We've seen it. They had a long losing streak. So the Dodgers could maybe fall off. You never know. Now, I do expect them to make the playoffs, and I expect them to win the division, and I expect them to win the NLDS. But then anything after that, I think is suspect.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Miami going to the Big Ten is massive. It gives the university, in my opinion, it's a strong university. It's AAU. It's got championship pedigree. And I think it would have a massive recruiting advantage, to be candid, if it were to join the Big Ten. And I think that's making some of the bigger players in that conference a little nervous.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
What Michigan have to play versus Penn State is insane. Instead of Big Ten teams worrying about SEC and all that, Michigan fans should not be happy about what Matt Campbell gets to walk into. James Franklin's got to be kicking himself. Penn State do not play Oregon, Indiana, or Ohio State. They avoided the entire Big Three of the it's incredible.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
The dark days are ahead for the Warriors. And when Curry and Kerr and Draymond all leave, what are we going to be looking at that franchise that has been a mainstay of the NBA, the face of the NBA and NBA playoffs for so long? Where are they going to be? So I see no issue with them bringing Draymond back. Why not? You have one last go at things with the trio that they still have there. But I see this as a very long season.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
It is on the board that college sports has a number one villain, and it's just LSU athletics. The Will Wade hires and the Lane Kiffin hires kind of set us on this path.
And what about
sure,
Monken?
Gabe,
Let's get to the Monken story, Kevin. Like, let me ask you. So, Todd Monken, the new coach of the Cleveland Browns. I was going to say Baltimore Ravens, former coordinator. I didn't like the hire, whatever. I didn't think he was a good coordinator with Baltimore, but it is what it is. So this whole DeQuan Wright stuff with the kid that's going back to play for LSU, Monken said yesterday, I should have known something was up when Lane Kiffin called last week asking about him. Lane Kiffin said, I don't know Todd Monken. I don't have his phone number. It must have been someone impersonating me. Question is, who do you believe, Todd Monken or Lane Kiffin? The public believes Todd Monken.
I would
Monken
imagine
just
that
make
means
it up
an
that Lane
LSU.
Kiffin called him?
It means someone from LSU called someone in Cleveland, and Kiffin is getting him on a technicality.
Yeah, well, that's just such a Lane jerk thing to do. I don't even know his phone number. No, of course you don't. No one said, oh, yeah, off the top of your head, what's Todd Monken's phone number? You know what I mean? But like you said, he's playing word salad here with, well, I never called him. I don't know his phone number. He said maybe somebody else did, but wasn't me. Okay, so you have no idea people call and represent you at LSU without like you said, he is the biggest villain. And it's pretty hard to make the Ole Miss Rebels, Kevin, some sort of like public.
Well, he did it already.
Guys.
I mean, people love them
public
last
good
year
guys
during the
coming into
playoff
this
run.
game. Like people like just loathe LSU right now. This is how they operate, and
but I was going to bring up Gabe R.J. Lewis, former St. John Red Storm, just got his court motion to now play basketball for LSU and Will Wade, and the R.J. Lewis, like some of these all feel very open and shut. And the R.J. Lewis one, like, is ultimately he entered the draft just because he didn't get drafted. Like, too bad kind of thing. You didn't get drafted. You weren't that good. The reason, though, why, like, the R.J. Lewis one, I don't know if I sympathize with, like, he didn't play in the G League. He got hurt. So, like, it's kind of, I don't know, cheating isn't the word, right? Like, he got lucky. But
once you leave, you leave. That's the way I look at it.
By the way, I agree. I guess it's just we're getting to the point now where some of these are all so ridiculous that this one maybe is like the least ridiculous of the bunch, if that's possible.
You are ridiculousness. How about this? The Texas Longhorns salary payroll this year for players. Now, they're not paying this, right? It's not the school. It's through the NIL and the boosters, etc. But $47 million. $47 million. To put in context, the Vancouver Whitecaps are one of the best teams in MLS. They spend $21 million. CFL teams spend 6.2. That's the salary cap. The CFL, $6 million. 6.2 million. 47 million. Like, I'll put it in context here, guys. The Marlins and the Guardians are the lowest spending teams in Major League Baseball at $80 million. How long is it? A year or two? A year or two so till we pass like Major League Baseball teams?
But here's the thing, that Texas football is more valuable than Miami Marlins baseball, or Ohio State is more valuable than the Cleveland Guardians. Right?
Yeah, but
like more people can watch Ohio State and the Guardians.
That's not the point, though. That's not the point. It's just, don't pretend this is college football.
No, but I think that almost is the point, right? Is that they're so valuable.
But it has nothing to do with the TV value, Kevin. I'm talking about the health of the sport. I don't care how much money Texas is making. Right? Like, this isn't, I mean, we shut down a program over a fur coat like 25 years ago.
Right.
And now we're paying $50 million a year to players? So where does it stop? Put it this way, guys. 2 years ago, Ohio State spent...
It's not going to stop.
But listen, 2 years ago, Ohio State spent $20 million. 2 years later, it's up to $43 million this year on players. So what is it going to be in 2 years? $86 million? And then so exponentially it's going to grow, and then college football becomes bigger than the NFL because they don't have a salary cap. So college football will become bigger, right? And we're already seeing Trinidad Chambliss is kind of the first guy. Players used to sue to go to the NFL. Now they sue to stay. Never seen that.
I think Gabe.
I'm not leaving. They're like, I love college so much, I'm going to handcuff myself. Pull. I'm not leaving. I mean, how about this Max Johnson kid? He just got named the starting quarterback for Georgia Southern.
Yeah.
Dude, like Max Johnson, was a blue chip recruit 8 years ago or something.
So I actually, that stuff bothers me more than the money of it all.
And they're taking up a spot of a kid, Kevin. You already had your time in college. You already had your time. It's like Diego, these guys that won't let go. You're 27 years old, bro. You can't stay in college forever, son.
Yeah. The guys that are actually pros, that stuff I'm good with. I'd rather those guys be gone. But spending money, I don't know, in a way, Ohio State should spend $50 million on their football roster. Why wouldn't they?
Because the thing is, can Rutgers spend $50 million?
No. But can
Minnesota?
Can Brighton pay the same wages as Manchester City?
No, but this is why, college football. Yeah, but at least they have relegation there. It's a little bit different. It's a little, I get it, but it's a little bit different. With college football, they really should just split this thing up. They're going to anyways. There's going to be the top, sort of 50, 60, basically the Big Ten. The Big Ten and the SEC will basically merge and sort of all right, we'll start to, And honestly, from a business perspective, they really could cause big problems for the NFL. Because, as I say, they don't have a salary cap. They're not really beholden to the same type of guidelines the NFL are. They can kind of do whatever the hell they want to do. So, they really can.
I think the NFL kind of show that they're still the king. They bully them off their first CFP Saturday.
But
at the end of the day, Kevin, the eyeballs will always go to the NFL.
There's more college teams, though. They have a bigger TV portfolio.
It's kind of cut and dry that the Dodgers are going to win it, which is not a guarantee. This is not taxes and death, so to speak. The Dodgers can lose games. We've seen it. They had a long losing streak. So the Dodgers could maybe fall off. You never know. Now, I do expect them to make the playoffs, and I expect them to win the division, and I expect them to win the NLDS. But then anything after that, I think is suspect.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Miami going to the Big Ten is massive. It gives the university, in my opinion, it's a strong university. It's AAU. It's got championship pedigree. And I think it would have a massive recruiting advantage, to be candid, if it were to join the Big Ten. And I think that's making some of the bigger players in that conference a little nervous.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
What Michigan have to play versus Penn State is insane. Instead of Big Ten teams worrying about SEC and all that, Michigan fans should not be happy about what Matt Campbell gets to walk into. James Franklin's got to be kicking himself. Penn State do not play Oregon, Indiana, or Ohio State. They avoided the entire Big Three of the it's incredible.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
The dark days are ahead for the Warriors. And when Curry and Kerr and Draymond all leave, what are we going to be looking at that franchise that has been a mainstay of the NBA, the face of the NBA and NBA playoffs for so long? Where are they going to be? So I see no issue with them bringing Draymond back. Why not? You have one last go at things with the trio that they still have there. But I see this as a very long season.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Game live on a Monday night. Gabe, you brought up Todd Monken. I actually thought you were going to bring up a different story, which is the Cleveland Browns naming Deshaun Watson their starting quarterback. I'm curious your take. I'll just give you mine quickly in that I was completely unsurprised by this because the odds told us it was Watson's job the entire time. I thought there was maybe a chance Watson talked himself out of the job, but I wasn't really sure this was being all that evaluated in these preseason games. I think maybe in the camp it was being evaluated, but again, that always told us that Watson was going to grab this job here, Gabe, over Shedeur Sanders.
Thought it was very strange over the weekend when he was asked, when are you going to make a decision? And most coaches in this situation would say, make a decision. It's August right now. We have a lot of time. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like nowhere near. And he goes, on Monday, which means the decision was already made, right? The decision was already made. I believe that ownership is part of this, right? They paid him a lot of money, right? They paid him a lot of money. So I think that ownership was part of this. I think Monken as well. And I like Shedeur, actually. I thought Shedeur, I like Shedeur more than a lot of people do, actually. I think Shedeur has a lot of really good traits at the quarterback position. But I don't think Monken is not a young guy. Like, he's not there, Kevin, I think Monken wants to win right away.
Yep.
Right? I think, you know what I mean? Like, Monken, I know it sounds laughable, so to speak, but, like, I think Monken's thinking, like, yeah, I got 5 years here. I'm good. Like, yeah, I'll go with Shedeur now, and, like, I'll draft a quarterback. No, he's like, no, I want to beat Baltimore the first time we played them. Like, you know what I mean? I want to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers when we play them. And you and I have talked about it. Cleveland do have talent. I mean, they've been bad for so long, guys. They've stockpiled picks. Like, they really do have a lot of good players on paper. That's why, you know, I've never been a big Stefanski guy. Maybe Todd Monken will prove me wrong. Maybe running a team on his own and an offense on his own will prove me wrong. I don't really think so, though. And even though I'm saying he wants to win, doesn't mean I think they will. I think Deshaun's going to struggle, Kevin. But I understand why they're doing it.
Yep.
If you're Deshaun Watson, it's not a good idea to pick a fight with the fan base.
No.
Like, I saw somebody that, like, kind of nailed it well as far as, like, what was so angering about it. Because I understand Deshaun's tired of it. It is what it is. It's been a long time, guys. So, like, whatever. You know what I mean? It is okay. He did what he did. It is what it is. It was years ago. And I think he's just sort of, like, tired of it. But when it was the optics of it, Kevin, as Cleveland stated, Cleveland Brown was a Brown blog that basically stated the thing that irritated the most is he's talking like he's getting mad at the Cleveland fans as he was putting in his $75,000 earring. Right? So his earring alone, and I think that he was flexing, Kevin. I think he did it on purpose, actually.
Interesting.
I personally think that he was like, you poor son of a bitches that wake up in the morning and make like $9 an hour can all hate me all you want. And he put his ring in. He had like the $500,000 watch. He was just decked out and blinging. He adjusted all of his chains and stuff as he was talking. Kind of was like, dude, this is Cleveland. Like, this is not like honestly, if you really had a PR guy around you, Kevin, you would be like, I'm going to win the fans over. I know that I have a lot of work to do, but I can't wait for the season to start. I'm going to win them over. You know, it was like the guy on the Mets that said, the guy that jumps off the hill there, the pitcher. He said he was getting booed everywhere he goes. And they said it'll bother you. He goes, people paid money for their tickets. They can boo me all they want. I don't care. Right? Like, Deshaun's got to sort of say, hey, listen, they're the fans. They're upset. That's fine, but I'm going to prove them wrong. You don't pick a fight with them because now they're just going to boo them with every incomplete pass. And it's great for Shedeur. How long do you think before Shedeur is a starter there? I give Deshaun a month or so. He'll get hurt or he'll suck.
That's really the point. Like, if Shedeur doesn't get a lot of the season, it means Watson played well. It's really as simple as that.
Do you think he'll play well? I think he's lost it. I don't think he's the same quarterback anymore.
You know what I would say? I'll say this to you. I actually think that after the first game, they could bench him. I don't think he needs more than that. You'll know right away
whether or not he has
you're
anything
right.
left to offer.
We're going to
up.
be like, oh, he still got it, or it's going to be like, yeah, this is a disaster. I don't think there'll be an in-between.
100%.
Right.
And Shedeur will start a Thursday night in Pittsburgh or the next game at the Jets, and that's it.
And suddenly
they're
Shedeur
off and
becomes the
running.
fan guy. It's almost perfect for him in the
100%.
big picture.
Yes.
He went from sort of being the cocky kid that people were unsure about to give
Yes,
the kid a
well,
chance,
that-
man. Put Shedeur in.
Shedeur.
We want
And his
Shedeur.
name.
Yeah.
It's kind of cut and dry that the Dodgers are going to win it, which is not a guarantee. This is not taxes and death, so to speak. The Dodgers can lose games. We've seen it. They had a long losing streak. So the Dodgers could maybe fall off. You never know. Now, I do expect them to make the playoffs, and I expect them to win the division, and I expect them to win the NLDS. But then anything after that, I think is suspect.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Miami going to the Big Ten is massive. It gives the university, in my opinion, it's a strong university. It's AAU. It's got championship pedigree. And I think it would have a massive recruiting advantage, to be candid, if it were to join the Big Ten. And I think that's making some of the bigger players in that conference a little nervous.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
What Michigan have to play versus Penn State is insane. Like, instead of Big Ten teams worrying about SEC and all that, like, Michigan fans should not be happy about what Matt Campbell gets to walk into. James Franklin's got to be kicking himself. Penn State do not play Oregon, Indiana, or Ohio State. They avoided the entire Big Three of the it's incredible.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
You know, the dark days are ahead for the Warriors. And when Curry and Kerr and Draymond all leave, what are we going to be looking at that franchise that has been a mainstay of the NBA, you know, the face of the NBA and NBA playoffs for so long? Where are they going to be? So I see no issue with them bringing Draymond back. Why not? You have one last go at things with the trio that they still have there. But I see this as a very long season.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Back on SportsGrid on a Monday night, the Valkyries lead the Lynx by 1 at the end of the first quarter. Here's the problem. 17-16. You could try and say, oh, look, it's a Golden State game. But I'm sorry, my only takeaway is if you're Golden State and you're going to hold this team to 16 first quarter points, you have to be winning by more. Books are still mostly keeping this number the same. The Valkyries have a Minnesota problem. That's how I see it. And again, before we get out of here, when we get off air, if we get a better Minnesota number, I'll be interested. Because this is a Valkyries team. The other thing sometimes, like with a team who plays with the effort level that they do, and I'm not trying to take, like, I appreciate it. The season could feel longer to them than it does other teams. And Golden State might be out of gas at Gabe, give me your live thoughts here on this Valkyries Lynx game. I'd love to get a cheaper piece of Minnesota live if I could.
I don't know if Minnesota's lost since the last time I took them on the money line against the Sparks, Kevin. I'm still bothered by that game, actually, weeks later. But
the answer to that is no, by the way. Sorry to tell you. The answer to that is no.
Yes, of course. So you better not tonight, actually, as I put them in a money line parlay and I played them again this evening. But I think it was a fair point that you brought up about the Valkyries. And I was saying, we see this in the NBA as well. I think my Raptors were a classic example of that. Right? The Raptors used to win 55 games every year and then get bounced in the playoffs because they already played to their ceiling, right? Like, they outwork you generally. Like, the Raptors play hard every night. Not every team does. They do. And as Kevin stated with the Valkyries, they play hard defense. They play hard every night. They're not like a star-laden team. They just kind of grind you out, but they also grind themselves out, right, as the season goes on, and fatigue could become an issue for them. And the lack of offense is a problem, as you stated. It's like, all right, good for you. You held, like, you're right. You hold Minnesota to 16 points in a quarter. You want to say, yeah, we're up 30-16. We're up 27-16 after the first. Not we're up 17-16. Like, we just played as good as we could on defense, and we're up by 1 point.
Yep.
We're up by 1 point. That's their problem. And I'll repeat myself as to why they didn't think about bringing Kelsey Plum in. Unless they don't think that they're ready yet. Unless they actually have a more longer-term plan. They want to win, though, that team. They want to win. You saw that it's the same owner of the Warriors. And, in fact, I saw him saying the other day that we want to win, like, in the next couple of years, and it's going to be, glorious, etc. They had a 5-year to win in the first 5-year type plan. So, this is year
Gabe,
2?
We've been talking about this. Every time you and I feel like we both do the same thing. We get annoyed that they didn't get Plum, and then we immediately understand it. You know who hasn't played basketball in 2 weeks?
Kelsey Plum.
Kelsey Plum. Played 14 minutes on the 9th of August against Washington. Haven't seen her since.
Because she would help Golden State, but at the same point in time, they wouldn't have won anyways.
No,
even with
certainly
Kelsey
not with her
Plum.
not
So
playing.
That's why they're like, we're not giving up. And word was, too, what they want, like 4 first-round picks, whatever the hell it was. It was ridiculous. It was like 3-4 first-round picks, and Golden State were smart enough to say no. So I sort of get it. It's a little bit frustrating, but they are only in year 2. They are only in year 2 right now. So
yeah,
I think, looking at the big picture, I do get it. For the record, still 1-1 in this Red Sox and Marlin game.
Yeah, at this point, I'll take my chances if we get extras, right? Like, if that's the way this
play
goes.
Well, you know what? Even as of right now,
Spoke too soon?
Yeah. Wow, off the top of the wall. Like, literally, I don't know.
Oh, but that might be good. Miami's up?
Yep. So, I was just going to say to you, so Otto Lopez, actually, Team Canada. Otto Lopez, 30th double of the season. Just ripped one off the top of the wall. But I was going to say, as of right now, Kevin, you can get plus 170 with the Red Sox.
As somebody who's on the Marlins, it's not a bad bet. You know what I mean?
So
like,
I'm just saying, you're sort of playing
play.
the game. Just pretend it's like extra innings right now. You got a runner on second base.
Yeah.
You're getting plus 170. Yeah, there's nobody out. I know it's risky. There's nobody out, but they got out of this. Suddenly the Red Sox become favorites in this game. We're just saying, like, that whole, like, how things are going to switch because you got a leadoff double. You got this massive number right now.
Yeah. No, it's a really, really good point. We'll follow along with that here.
And how about the Rays up 4-1? Yeah. 4-1 Rays.
Here was one of the underrated elements of them losing that series to Toronto, Tampa Bay, is they followed it up by losing a series to Baltimore. They had already just lost a series to Baltimore. Yankees are only 3 games back at Tampa Bay all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like,
that's becoming
think about
real.
how low the Tampa Bay outlook will feel, Gabe, if they do not win this division.
I have to get your thoughts on, I was on the road, but I couldn't help but see. So Stanton hurt his other calf now? Well, so what's the deal now? How much longer is he going to be out now because of this?
I think I've done a disservice when I've talked about the Yankees getting healthier saying his name. I shouldn't have mentioned his name.
because it's
he
not
had a
gonna
right
happen.
calf injury, and guys, he was coming back. He was close to being back, and then he hurt his left calf, or it's the left and the right, or whatever. But you can't make this up.
Yeah,
It's just tough. Look,
He's too
Stanton
big. Right?
is.
That's what happens. We talked about it. These guys that are these massively ripped dudes and stuff. You see it in football. They get hurt. They don't have a lot of body fat. They get these massive bodies. They swing the bat violently. Their ligaments.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. David
He's
Chow
not-
said that once to me about like big guys, like about guys in the NBA. He said, you can train this and you can train that and you can do this, but he said your tendons in your body aren't. Everyone has the same tendons, Kevin. You know what I mean? So like, Aaron Judge could be big and stuff, but that's why these guys get hurt all the time. Remember, like a big wide receiver, David Boston, in the old days. The guys with like zero body fat, they always get hurt.
But it is a potential, you would think, right? Like, oh, that's a scary outlook for Judge. Judge isn't that much younger than Stanton. Stanton is a unique kind of injury prone. He has been jogging out.
He's next level injury prone.
Yes. Like, so Gabe, you know how like most older baseball fans see a guy jog to first base on a maybe double and get angry? Nobody does that with Stanton.
No,
Yankee fans get angry when he tries to run. Like,
I remember Boone defending him. What do you want him to do? Run? Like, he got to defend him.
Yeah,
What
no,
do you
like
expect
he's
from him?
talked about like a completely different entity
So
because
this
he
year he's
cannot
played
run.
24 games. The year before he played 77. He did give you 4 years in a row.
Of 100 plus.
He did give you, 140, 110, 101, 114. It's not, So let's just the last
him,
two
you'll
seasons
take
been
it.
a disaster. Yeah, last two
You'll
seasons.
take
And
it.
it's almost
not
unfair
his
because he had a
postseason
nice
moments.
run. He's had a lot of nice seasons actually, but he's had 1, 2, 3, 4. He's had 5
I like
years
Stanton.
that have been derailed by injuries.
I've liked Stanton. I've always liked Stanton. I don't blame. It's not his fault that his body's betrayed him. I don't think he's trying to get it.
It costs.
It's kind of cut and dry that the Dodgers are going to win it, which is not a guarantee. This is not taxes and death, so to speak. The Dodgers can lose games. We've seen it. They had a long losing streak. So the Dodgers could maybe fall off. You never know. Now, I do expect them to make the playoffs, and I expect them to win the division, and I expect them to win the NLDS. But then anything after that, I think is suspect.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Miami going to the Big Ten is massive. It gives the university, in my opinion, it's a strong university. It's AAU. It's got championship pedigree. And I think it would have a massive recruiting advantage, to be candid, if it were to join the Big Ten. And I think that's making some of the bigger players in that conference a little nervous.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
What Michigan have to play versus Penn State is insane. Like, instead of Big Ten teams worrying about SEC and all that, like, Michigan fans should not be happy about what Matt Campbell gets to walk into. James Franklin's got to be kicking himself. Penn State do not play Oregon, Indiana, or Ohio State. They avoided the entire Big Three of the it's incredible.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
The dark days are ahead for the Warriors. And when Curry and Kerr and Draymond all leave, what are we going to be looking at that franchise that has been a mainstay of the NBA, the face of the NBA and NBA playoffs for so long? Where are they going to be? So I see no issue with them bringing Draymond back. Why not? You have one last go at things with the trio that they still have there. But I see this as a very long season.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Back here with you guys on a Monday night. Man, we are deep in August. Let me ask you quickly, Gabe. I know obviously it was a very busy weekend for you. Really, congratulations. I know it was a lot of fun, just kind of soaking everything in. Were you betting NFL preseason, and did you have any takeaways? Because the one thing I wanted to say, I was a little thrown off by how some teams are treating preseason. Week 1, you'll see guys a little bit. Week 2, nobody's playing. And then week 3, we might play like a quarter or a half a game. It's interesting that they almost treat week 2 like a bye week here for some of these teams that played starters in week 1 of the preseason.
Week 3, and what happened too, as we saw in week 2 of the preseason, a lot of blowouts. There really weren't too many close games. There were just sort of one-sided games, one way or the other. Preseason week 3 has always been the unofficial, official dress rehearsal game, in which starters play the first half, and then, the old cliche, we want them to get used to coming out of the locker room, too. So we're going to play them in the first series or 2 in the third quarter. I don't expect that to happen. I brought it up during the Hall of Fame game, if you guys remember, and I said that all the old rules and cliches in a preseason seem to be thrown out the window. Every coach does it differently. Every coach has a different plan, different, timing about how he wants to operate things. So I have a hard time sort of figuring things out right now, and I think the odds makers do as well. If you look at this week in the preseason, guys, all the games are basically pick'ems. And previously we had like point spreads all the time, right? You know what I mean? We'd have all those teams favored by this or that. Now Pittsburgh and Buffalo, 1.5. New England and Cleveland, 2.5. San Francisco and the Raiders, 1.5. Just sort of like a lot of, the odds makers saying, you decide. We don't know. Right? Rams and Chargers, okay, you got a 4.5 there, but Washington, Baltimore, 3.5, 2.5 Houston, Carolina, 1.5 Tampa, Jacksonville, 2.5 the Battle of New York, which is always an interesting one. This one should have a somewhat of a little edge to it, actually, here. With the Giants and Jets playing in the preseason, right? This is always a fun, annual game that they play.
Yeah, it's a good point, though, and I hadn't noticed it really, Gabe. Just these really short numbers and the few outliers. Denver -6, Atlanta 4.5, Chargers 4.5. I think everything else is under a field goal. Why are the Chargers -4.5? Because they're going to play Herbert and the Rams aren't going to play any starters.
The Rams,
that looks like a bad number.
It seems
Stetson Bennett and Ty Simpson are going to still play mostly against Trey Lance and DJU.
Yeah, for me, I almost look when I see these bigger numbers, I want to take them almost. Oh, Miami finally broke through. They put a run on the board, 2-1.
Did they send the
and they had the bases loaded?
One. Yeah, I thought they'd send the other guy.
They have one out, bases loaded. Yeah. So updated numbers. So Boston is still in it. I mean, and now it's plus 500. Like if they get a double play out of this, it's a pretty fat number at plus 500. But they're running out of bats, right? They only have the 8th and 9th. So they got 6 outs to give here to come back.
Yeah. What else? Is anything else? How about
Cleveland tonight?
Minter, by the way. Just with the NFL preseason, Minter 2-0 against the number, 2-0 straight up to take over for Harbaugh in Baltimore.
Continuing the tradition, continuing the tradition, and I don't know if you saw the video of the Dallas Cowboys. And now the Cowboys are 2-0 in the preseason for the first time since 2007. But you look at that division, and it's Philadelphia and Dallas and everyone else, obviously. So to me, I'll ask you the question is, how much ahead are the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys as teams coming into this season? Because I'm starting to buy into this Cowboy team. Like, I think that if you look at the Cowboys objectively, the only reason to say, no, they're not a good football team is if you don't like the Dallas Cowboys in a sense, right? And I get there's sort of there's a Cowboy bias in which they get overrated, and I think there's almost an instance where they can get underrated sometimes, but I like Schottenheimer. I know a lot of it comes down to Dak's health, obviously. And speaking of Rip, Dak, really, really jacked up in the offseason. Did they score again?
I don't know what just happened there.
Wow, so 2-1 now, 2 out. Fielder's choice. They got the out.
That was not good.
What did it go to? So it was plus 500. Now they just froze it. So that was a weird play. So yeah, they got the out at home plate. So it's bases loaded now. It was kind of like not a line drive, but a soft.
Yeah,
soft like floater. One of those like the ball like was weird to first base, and Buddy on the Red Sox didn't catch it because it was like an awkward ball. But I almost think he didn't catch it on purpose. It's almost like he knocked it down.
He's a genius if that's what he did. He's a genius.
I know. I'm not giving him too much credit almost because, he's like, I'm going to knock this down and throw it to home plate. But it was one of those weird plays. But I tell you what, like I said, they went to plus 500. Now there's 2 outs suddenly. It's a big number.
Yeah.
320 right now. So it went to plus 500 to plus 320.
It is still a big number. Like, it kind of goes to show how little they think teams are going to score, right? Like,
very little confidence in them.
Like, everyone's like, oh, everyone's going to score. But without it, there's not a lot of confidence.
It's one swing of the bat, though, when you're down by 1 run. At plus 500, you know, you're not going to win every bet. But, still, at that number,
they're still keeping it open, Gabe, that Miami are going to score, right? They're like, well, maybe Sanoa comes up here, base knock, and this game's 1-4. Yeah.
The bases are loaded. I mean, this thing could get blown open. It all comes down to this, but that's what makes these in-game bets so fascinating when it comes to baseball. There's these massive, massive number swings as we see all the time. And speaking of number swings, Kevin, the Valkyries are still balling right now, up 31-25 on the Lynx.
Again, what are we getting live?
Lynx
Ooh, they
really
flipped the favorites.
Yeah, you can get the Lynx at plus 110 on the money line right now.
How's that?
And they're only down 6.
What do we get for Minnesota to be up at the half? What do we
They've
think?
only scored 9
+750.
points. They've only scored 9 points, Minnesota, though, in 7 minutes in a quarter. There's less than 3 minutes left in the second quarter, and the Minnesota Lynx have only scored. They just hit a 3, and they just went to minus 120. You got to take the Lynx in game, guys.
Hilarious.
It's kind of cut and dry that the Dodgers are going to win it, which is not a guarantee. This is not taxes and death, so to speak. The Dodgers can lose games. We've seen it. They had a long losing streak. So the Dodgers could maybe fall off. You never know. Now, I do expect them to make the playoffs, and I expect them to win the division, and I expect them to win the NLDS. But then anything after that, I think is suspect.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Miami going to the Big Ten is massive. It gives the university, in my opinion, it's a strong university. It's AAU. It's got championship pedigree. And I think it would have a massive recruiting advantage, to be candid, if it were to join the Big Ten. And I think that's making some of the bigger players in that conference a little nervous.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
What Michigan have to play versus Penn State is insane. Like, instead of Big Ten teams worrying about SEC and all that, like, Michigan fans should not be happy about what Matt Campbell gets to walk into. James Franklin's got to be kicking himself. Penn State do not play Oregon, Indiana, or Ohio State. They avoided the entire Big Three of the it's incredible.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
You know, the dark days are ahead for the Warriors. And when Curry and Kerr and Draymond all leave, what are we going to be looking at that franchise that has been a mainstay of the NBA, you know, the face of the NBA and NBA playoffs for so long? Where are they going to be? So I see no issue with them bringing Draymond back. Why not? You have one last go at things with the trio that they still have there. But I see this as a very long season.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
In Game Live, we're back here on SportsGrid. I'm going to throw a number at Gabe, see if it ruins his Cowboys optimism or not. Dak Prescott played 16 games back when we used to play 16 games, each of his first 4 NFL seasons. Since then, 5, 16, 12, 17, 8, 17. Recent history says Dak Prescott is going to miss a handful of games this year, Gabe. And that's worrisome for me with the Dallas
It sort
Cowboys
of alternates, too. It does, I know.
Yep.
I don't know if the offseason workout regimen will be different this year. There is that
I think
history,
based on our
obviously.
Stanton conversation, I'm not sure it's great that he's jacked now.
No, I know, and I can't help it. I walked right into that, too. Different sports.
I set you up for it. I was playing a long game.
Different sports. Hey, for the record, oh boy, just like that.
Oh, come on.
Leadoff double for Boston. So it's like an extra inning game. Now they got a runner on second with nobody out.
Plus 105. You got to be kidding me.
It was plus 500, guys. Told you it was plus 500. Now suddenly they got a runner on second base. Only down 1 run.
Brutal.
But you look at the Cowboys' schedule. They have an opportunity to, they open up against the Giants at MetLife, and they'll beat the Giants at MetLife Stadium to start the season. They host the Commanders, kind of a toss-up, but, let's just give them the benefit of the doubt here. They could be 2-0 hosting the Ravens, a pretty big game with the Ravens. That game's in Dallas.
No, it's not. I want to give you a quick update just because they don't do a good job marking this, Gabe. That's the Rio game.
Sorry, I was going to say, is it Mexico? But it's Rio.
Yeah, Rio.
Okay.
Which I think is
Cowboys
brutal,
go
by
to
the
Brazil
way.
for.
Don't you think that's brutal, Gabe? Going to Rio just in a regular week? No extra time to prepare for it? When the Eagles went to Rio, it was week 1.
Yeah, and they get they don't have a bye week after either. It's the Texans after.
Nope, they don't have a bye week till week 14.
You get offered the choice though, right? Still, so when you
I
go
don't
on
think
these
you do when you go that early. Like I don't think you can have a bye week in week 4.
That's the problem. That's a good point. But generally, like teams are like, yeah, it's we know you're not excited. You're going to Australia, but like the Rams and they're going in week 1, right? So
yeah,
you're right though. They do a bad job of like with the locations of the games, but I'm just saying there's some winnable games for them to start the season, and then as the season goes on, the schedule kind of gets softer a little bit. It's not an easy schedule for the Cowboys, but they could be in every game. Like I think this is a playoff caliber football team. I think their defense was greatly improved last year after the acquisitions. And now with some more chemistry for time for them to come together, I think they're going to be even better. Like I said, I like Schottenheimer as a coach, Kevin. I think, there's a lot to like about this Dallas team. The downside is, as you talked about, if we're going to call out Stanton for the history, Dak has the injury history. And the fact is, there's a lot of other good teams in the NFC. Right?
I mean,
so
listen,
that's sort of I was talking about Notre Dame. It's like, yeah, you guys are stacked, but like, so are the Eagles, so are the Rams, so are the Seahawks, right? So are the Bears. So like you go down the list, there's so many good teams.
Sometimes I think teams get hard done by the schedule. Like to go to Rio and play Baltimore, and then you're playing at Houston, a Thursday night game against Tampa, at Green Bay, at Philly. Whoa, hold on now. They play in Dallas 2 times in the first 7 weeks. That's tough. Right?
It is.
So, and again, they don't see a bye week until week 14. Like if that Rio travel knocks a little bit out of them.
But if they get through that first 2 months, Kevin, right? That's why I said at the back end. Cardinals at Cowboys, Cowboys at Colts, 49ers at Cowboys, Titans at Cowboys, Eagles at Cowboys, Cowboys at Seahawks, Cowboys at Rams, but Jaguars at Cowboys, Giants at Cowboys, Cowboys Commanders. There's some spots for them to go on these little mini three game win streaks
100%
schedule.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm not saying there's not.
They got some tough
we're
games.
We're going to run up against this break, though. I'm sure you have late picks here.
Yeah, so let's go over the number, over to 181.5 in the Dream and the Sparks game. Angel Reese is starting to score more and get a little less rebounds because she's scoring more. I'm going to go with the points and rebounds. I'm going to go your style tonight. Over 30.5 for Angel Reese, points and rebounds combined. And I'm going to go with Rin Howard over 18.5 points. She's 8-1 to the over in the last 9 games, and the Boston Red Sox just tied the game And they have a runner on second base. Dear God.
Why'd you have to be so correct about that one?
Can't say we didn't tell you.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Give me the Phillies late night. Zach Wheeler getting the baseball in Seattle up against Logan Gilbert. Other than that, folks, we will see you right back here tomorrow
Countdown to football
on SportsGrid.
It's kind of cut and dry that the Dodgers are going to win it, which is not a guarantee. This is not taxes and death, so to speak. The Dodgers can lose games. We've seen it. They had a long losing streak. So the Dodgers could maybe fall off. You never know. Now, I do expect them to make the playoffs, and I expect them to win the division, and I expect them to win the NLDS. But then anything after that, I think is suspect.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Miami going to the Big Ten is massive. It gives the university, in my opinion, it's a strong university. It's AAU. It's got championship pedigree. And I think it would have a massive recruiting advantage, to be candid, if it were to join the Big Ten. And I think that's making some of the bigger players in that conference a little nervous.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
What Michigan have to play versus Penn State is insane. Like, instead of Big Ten teams worrying about SEC and all that, like, Michigan fans should not be happy about what Matt Campbell gets to walk into. James Franklin's got to be kicking himself. Penn State do not play Oregon, Indiana, or Ohio State. They avoided the entire Big Three of the it's incredible.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
You know, the dark days are ahead for the Warriors. And when Curry and Kerr and Draymond all leave, what are we going to be looking at that franchise that has been a mainstay of the NBA, you know, the face of the NBA and NBA playoffs for so long? Where are they going to be? So I see no issue with them bringing Draymond back. Why not? You have one last go at things with the trio that they still have there. But I see this as a very long season.
Game time decisions only